I hate to break it to you, but the Su-30 is a piece of shit. And I'll tell you why while I'm rating it, and I'm not lying. First up, its top speed is 2,304 kilometers per hour at 12,000 meters in altitude. This is about 1,400 miles per hour. On the deck, it can reach about Mach 1.2, which is somewhat similar to the Rafale. Now, this is decently fast for the BR bracket, although it is not the fastest. That belongs to the F-15E, but the thing that really stands out to me is the fact that this thing's climb rate is so atrocious. It has a climb rate of 200 meters per second just due to the weight of this vehicle. It makes the Su-30 extremely hard to play BVR just because you can't get that altitude fast enough. So I'm gonna give it a speed of 6 out of 10. Moving over to agility, you would imagine the Su-30 is gonna score pretty high just due to the fact that it has really advanced thrust vectoring, and you would be wrong. This thing is an absolute brick in the skies. After one turn, you're basically gonna be relying on your thrust vectoring to keep you up in the sky. So yes, it is super maneuverable for the first 5 seconds of the fight, but after that, you're pretty much gonna be done and toast to whoever sees you. And I already know what you're typing up in the comments. What about the missiles? No, I'm not talking about the missiles here. That's offensive armament. This is agility, and it has none. I legitimately never got into a full dogfight where I was actually competitive past 5 seconds. And I have even touched on the fact that this thing weighs more than your mother somehow. So for agility, it's going to get a 4 out of 10. Moving over to offensive armament, where it absolutely gets carried, the Su-30 can carry a maximum of 14 missiles, the most in the game. You also get access to the brand new R77-1s, which on paper are better than the AIM-120Bs. On top of having one of the best IR missiles in the game, the R73. The only issue I ever had with the Su-30's main armament was the fact that it had a 30mm, which is quite slow, but it could hit pretty hard. But on the major downside, it only could fire 180 rounds maximum. But still, it's just a missile bus, and you're literally just meant to sling missiles the entire game, so it's gonna get a 10 out of 10 for offense. Moving over to defense, you do get access to one of the best RWRs in the game, if not the best RWR in the game, along with flares and chaff that are large caliber. The large caliber is nice, although you only get a maximum of 98 countermeasures, and they are split. You also are missing any type of MOS system that is usually pretty helpful in this BR bracket just due to AIM-9M spam. Now defensively, this vehicle is beat out by basically every other 14.0. Sure, it has large caliber countermeasures, but you can only flare so many times, you know? So for defense, it's gonna get a 7 out of 10. Moving over to cast, you can carry 6 of the most overpowered missiles in the game, those being the KH-38s. You also get access to the widest variety of cast munitions pretty much in the game, so you do get TV, laser, munitions, basically everything you could ever ask for. And on top of that, you probably get the best targeting pod in the game. And I guess if you don't want an RTB, you do have the 30mm that can basically rip through any tank. So for cast, of course, it's gonna have to get a 10 out of 10. Moving over to features, it of course gets flares, chaff, radar, optical detection, RWR, ballistic computer, HMD, night vision device, and a thermal imager. The most gimmicky thing about this vehicle is its thrust vectoring capability. It probably has the best targeting pod in game, and it probably has one of the best radars in game, coming in with a pace of radar. The only thing feature-wise this thing is missing is probably a MOS system. So it's gonna get a 9 out of 10 for features. Moving over to durability, this vehicle definitely is not durable, but I can say I have been able to tank 1 or 2 missiles, although not very many in my matches I played in this thing. The majority of the time you just get one-tapped or lose control of your vehicle, especially because your wings and engines are very prone to getting criticaled. So I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10 for durability. Moving over to difficulty, this vehicle is quite hard to place because it is super easy to play as a cast vehicle because it's essentially point and click, and it's not that hard overall in top tier air because it is a missile bus. It's literally just fired for git spam. But on the other hand, you are an extremely large vehicle that can't really maneuver that well with a mediocre speed, so as soon as you get into a dogfight, it's pretty much over. And if you run out of missiles, you might as well just be playing a biplane at top tier because you ain't gonna do anything. Additionally, you will need experience because you will need to know how to dogfight a really heavy vehicle and fire missiles and defend. So with 10 being the easiest, I'm gonna give this thing a 5 out of 10. Moving over to the fun value, I do not find the Su-30 fun at all in Air RB just because you're just slinging missiles the entire time. And when you take it in the ground RB, the KH-38s just wipe the floor. There's nothing fun or challenging about that. But hey, if you like winning the ground matches, this is going to be your vehicle. So for the fun value, I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10. As for the worth value, this is the best Russian aircraft in the game, probably for just air-to-air combat. And you can now take both the Su-30 and Su-34 and just absolutely spam KH-38s as casts. So if you are going to be grinding out the Russian air tech tree anytime soon, you should probably go for this vehicle. And sure, it's good. It's not really fun overall because you're just spamming missiles at basically anything that moves, and that's not really fun or challenging in any sense. So for the worth value, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. This gives the Su-30SM an overall score of 67 out of 100. This gives it an overall score of a B.